team to be remembered.
Oh, how will they be remembered? Hey, good morning. It could be a day to be remembered. Hunter McCann, Michael Cobble here with you, counting you down to kickoff for both the LSU Tigers and, of course, Southern Jaguars, as well as Southeastern Lions. We'll get to those teams in a minute, but right now our focus is clearly on LSU as they fix to close out the end of their regular season. We are all preparing to hear about what will happen with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. Of course, it could be a very busy day. But as for the football Tigers that are currently playing this game, one thing's certain, they're going to have to play much, much better. LSU, still a very troubled and flawed team. We saw that in this game against Western Kentucky, a team that, Hunter, you thought they would beat by three touchdowns.
Yeah, sure did.
LSU struggling to beat them by 3 points. So just an absolute ugly game, but interim coach Frank Wilson says regardless of how it looked, it was still a W.
That's the beautiful thing about this, right? Ugly as it may be, all right? They're our babies. They're my babies, and so I accept them. I love them for who they are, the good, the bad, the indifferent. When that ball, all the things that happen throughout the game, they're teachable moments. If you don't learn from them, it's in vain. But if you're making these mistakes and you're growing and you're learning from them, then there's merit in it. Again, this opponent we played, they were a different team a year ago. They learned from their mistakes, and they became a better team and in playoff contention.
Coach Wilson talking about taking on the Oklahoma Sooners later today. They did learn from their mistakes. They were a team that I thought would be firing their coach, not LSU, and we were at SEC Media Days earlier this year. But LSU is still trying to learn from those mistakes. And Hunter, I know you don't have kids yet, but I think a lot of parents out there can relate. You know, they understand. They see the flaws in their children. They love them regardless. Sure. But we as fans, we don't have to love them regardless. I mean, we just want them to figure it out. And Week 12 is not the point in the season when we thought they would still be figuring this thing out.
Well, no, and then against, like you said, an opponent like Western Kentucky where you can't kind of pull away from them at least eventually or have some type of offensive resurgence where you feel like, oh, maybe you could take that momentum into the hostile environment today of Norman, Oklahoma. You don't feel too good about the Tigers' chances today because Oklahoma and LSU almost spitting images of each other, except for that Oklahoma can at least move the ball down the field a little more consistently. They score points not in bunches like a lot of SEC teams, but they chip away at opponents' will because of that defense and how good their defense is. And really the only difference between LSU's defense and Oklahoma's defense is Oklahoma can stop a mobile quarterback while LSU is incapable of doing so.
Yeah, speaking of that quarterback position, Michael Van Buren just simply has to play better, and that will be a tough task today against Oklahoma. Last week against Western Kentucky, MVB just missing on a lot of his passes. You see that one right there, a great example. Not able to really reach that 4 to 5 extra yards they need to hit his receivers in stride. I asked Coach Wilson, was there something, you know, just not connecting the dots in his game?
Yeah, experience is the best teacher, right? And you got to go out there and play. And so as you look at an opponent, you have to work on you, all right? And so your rhythmic throws, the 1, 2, 3, and throw. And 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 and 3. They have to be that way, and when you speed it up before it's time to be delivered, there's windows that allow you to make this anticipatory throw when he's there, but you throw it here because the timing would allow it to clear, and this backer who goes from hook to flat is in a progression as well, so you got to throw it there, not back here. But you got to do them. You got to do it against live bullets.
Certainly do, and you need to do it when your offensive line is there to protect you. And unfortunately, against Western Kentucky, I think that's where this Tiger offense took an immediate bullet, if you will, because Braylon Moore, their center, they're probably the best player along their offensive line, immediately goes out of this one. Doubtful for today's game against the Sooners, and against that defensive front, that is not good news for LSU. The Tigers still trying to find something, and Coach Wilson said maybe if they can just have some consistency with the practice players to the game day players, that could be the difference.
Just they need to have a consistency, and if we can have a consistent group in there at one time, outside of playing musical chairs, I think we could try to get some type of cohesiveness, whomever they may be, whatever 5, we just got to get them from practice to the game so that we have our best opportunities.
Just take 5 out the stands, maybe, in Norman. I mean, it's going to be tough sled.
Couldn't be much worse, right?
No.
Like, absolutely just the worst offensive line play that I think I've seen since being in Baton Rouge, and that was in the early 90s. So, I mean, there's some things there that they just simply are not where they need to be from a talent perspective, from a coaching perspective. I think all that is going to change at the end of this season. And as much money as you want to spend in the NIL and portal era, you need to pour it all in to that offensive line position. Because to your point that you made earlier, taking on Oklahoma today is going to be absolutely miserable. If you thought Western Kentucky was tough, I mean, this is going to be like taking medicine all day long for this LSU offensive line.
And if there's an advantage of Michael Van Buren being, there might be multiple, but if there's an advantage of Michael Van Buren being under center instead of Garrett Nussmeier, it is his ability to run. We haven't seen it in bunches yet to start the year, or to really start the back half of this year, but it's going to be probably a big deal today if he can break off a couple runs, extend drives with his legs, because he's not going to have much time to stand in the pocket and throw downfield. He'll
be the difference maker if they roll him out and get him throwing on the run and if they have some designed runs. But again, this Oklahoma defense is a nightmare for this LSU offense.
They're very stout in the run game, as you saw with the leading rush team in Missouri, and their back was held to 57 yards or so after coming off a 300-yard game. They're pretty stingy when it comes to their defensive front. And they're pretty nasty on the back end as well as they contest passes. And so from a game plan standpoint, we're in the primary stages of trying to figure that out. Where does the opportunity lie where we can create a touchdown for us?
Hunter, when I heard him say that, I thought that was great because I immediately thought that Oklahoma's defense will probably have more points scored than LSU's offense.
I think that LSU's defense, if LSU is to put up double-digit points in this game, I truly believe it'll be because their defense scored the majority of it.
I think the defense and special teams have to score, no doubt. I mean, if LSU is going to kick field goals like we've seen. All of this, of course, going on with the circus that's circling this Tiger football team, that being the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes. Coach Frank Wilson was asked about whether it's a distraction for his team as they try to prepare for their season finale.
What we can control and what this game will become, even not so much about Oklahoma, but about us, right? These self-inflicting things that we have done, continue to do. How do we rid ourselves of these habits that's been habitual for length of time? They're not new. You know, we have the same players. We have some of the same issues.
Certainly lots of issues this season. When we come back, we're going to check out another Baton Rouge area team with a lot of issues as well, offense, defense, and special teams. The Southern Jaguars trying to close out their season in the Bayou Classic. We're back with a preview of that big game later today. Next.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
Did you know Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana was ranked #1 in member satisfaction by J.D. Power and most trusted?
Find out what Louisiana Blue can do for you. Call today, 1-833-616-2254.
Call me Peyton Murphy. I am Louisiana's knee injury lawyer.
Attention car, truck, and SUV owners. Robinson Brothers wants to buy your vehicle. Your trusted dealer since 1946 needs more inventory due to brisk year-end sales. We're actively buying all makes and models. Don't get underpaid for your trade. Plus, Robinson Brothers always has a great selection of high-quality used cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans priced to sell since 1946. Robinson Brothers.
As always, no unexpected fees. Click, call, or get to Robinson Brothers today.
Design you feel in every detail. Technology as innovative as it is effortless. These are luxuries you don't have to wait for. This is Buick now. Buick, exceptional by design.
Celebrate Black Friday with $500 bonus cash. Plus, get 0.9% APR on these 2025 Buick models. Plus, current eligible non-GM owners get up to $3,000 allowance on Encore GX.
The greatest measure of the season is how it makes you feel. The December to Remember sales event. Get offers on select models. While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
From the official news station of LSU Athletics, this is WBRZ Morning News at 10.
Good morning and welcome back. Hunter McKay and Michael Cobley here, counting down to kickoff for the LSU Tigers, Southern Jaguars, and Southeastern Lions. For the Southern Jaguars, it is the end of a nightmare season for them as well. And, of course, always a chance to get right in the Bayou Classic. And that is going to be the big talking point for Coach Fred McNair and company as they prepare to take on the Grambling Tigers later this afternoon down in the Superdome. Now, Southern has fared well in this game over the last 3 years, winning 3 in a row. But can this interim coach and this football team that has really struggled to do anything right and get out of their own way for most of the season take down the Grambling Tigers? We shall find out. Sports 2's Bree Andrews was down in the Dome earlier this week and has a preview.
It wasn't that long ago that Southern was in a similar position as they are now, having an interim head coach lead the Jags into the Bayou Classic. Fred McNair, no stranger to a SWAC rivalry, but he is fairly new to this one between Southern and Grambling. But according to Grambling head coach Mickey Joseph, the record that Southern has at 1-10 goes out the window for a game like this one.
We won't look at their record. We know that they have a really good football team. They ran into some injuries just like everybody else, and they hadn't played the best ball, but they're going to play their best ball come Saturday because of the magnitude of this game.
Yeah, I met with them on Sunday, and they had a great look on their face, and they looked good. They looked locked in, and so I think the guys are ready to come back and get ready for another exciting game. Some of the guys are going to be the last Bayou Classic, so the seniors that's going to get a chance to see their last one, they get a chance to get the young guys up and get them ready to play.
Although these two head coaches are fairly new to leading these teams in the Bayou Classic, they're no stranger to one another. Back in 2013, McNair was the quarterback's coach at Alcorn, and Joseph was the wide receivers coach. So they know each other very well and will get to compete against each other on Saturday. Covering the Jags here at the Bayou Classic press conference, Bree Andrews, WBRZ Sports 2.
Thank you very much, Bree. Is it a blowout on deck later this afternoon? We will find out. Kickoff set for 1 o'clock. You can see it on the NBC network. Of course, the Southern Jaguars also realizing they need to find a new head coach. Plenty of rumors going around as to who it could be. Maybe a potential NFL running back running his way to the bluff, if you will. But Bree caught up with athletic director Roman Banks to get their process as far as where they are and when they hope to name a new head coach for Southern Jaguars.
We're trying to finish out interviews this week, and we'd like to think somewhere between the end of this week or the first of next week, right out the Bayou Classic, that we'll have a coach. We took a lot of pool of coaches outside of the SWAC. We still interview people within the SWAC, but we had a huge pool, so we didn't confine ourselves. And I'll be honest with you, I think that, you have to speak to some fresh thoughts sometime as well. And so these conversations have been interesting. Someone that can expand the reach when it comes to the ideal of what the new facilities should look like, somebody that can expand the reach when you start talking about NIL and revenue sharing. And so I think that one word, that's expand, will be a trigger when we're trying to close this out to find the next coach.
Southern looking to expand their horizons, potentially with a press conference on Monday. We've heard a lot about that. We'll have to find out if they can get it to the finish line here later today and tomorrow as well. All right, one team that's really running hot, though, the Southeastern Lions. Maybe we should have given up on LSU and Southern.
Definitely so. A
long time ago, and just headed to Hammond a lot more often, right? Frank Selfo and company doing a fantastic job taking the River Bell Classic over Nichols, punching their ticket into the FCS playoffs, or they will take the field later this afternoon as well. Sports 2's Jack Schimmel went to Hammond earlier this week and has a preview of the Lions' upcoming playoff contest.
For the 4th time in 8 years under head coach Frank Selfo, Southeastern is heading to the FCS playoffs. It's easily the most successful run in Lion football history. But the most important part about this trip to the playoffs, Southeastern is playing at home against Illinois State in the first round. It's a place where the Lions are 5-0 so far this season.
Play at home, not have to travel, there's a lot of arrangements got to go through, that you got to go through to get all that done. So being able to play at home, especially here, we play really well here. We're very comfortable here. We practice in the same field, and we're coming out of the same place, the locker room, everything's the same. So being able to have that, I guess the routine already in place I think it does. You have a good feel for that. Vegas gives you 3 points for home field advantage, right? So we're going to take them. You don't get these opportunities every year. I don't know, we have 136 teams in FCS, 128. I don't even know what it is. There's 24 left, and we're one of them. And there's 8 games in the country this year. That's it. This week there's only 8, and one of them's here. So, you know, you gotta appreciate that, because it doesn't come along every year. And besides maybe 3 or 4 other schools around the country, not everybody gets to experience this.
For most of the 25 seniors on this Southeastern roster, it's not a new experience. They've been to the playoffs before with the Lions back in 2022, but for a lot of guys that play a lot for Frank Selfo's group, it will be their first taste of FCS playoff football. Reporting from Hammond, Jack Schemmel, WBRZ Sports 2.
Thank you very much, Jack. There you see it later this afternoon. Illinois State and Southeastern squaring up in Strawberry Stadium. Hunter, going to be a good one, but look who you got coming if you win this one.
Yeah, you're just asking for it. But I do think today's match will be good. And it's a big props to Frank Selfo and this group. Their ability to score the football in a multitude of ways this season and open up this offense, something that LSU and Southern don't know anything about, is the reason that they find themselves in such a good position to possibly face North Dakota State next week. But it all starts this afternoon at Strawberry Stadium, and I do expect it to be a great matchup.
Yeah, hopefully it is. What do they call it up there? The O-Dome? The something kind of dome. North Dakota, Bismarck, freezing cold.
Don't got that one for you.
Don't have that one. All right, how about the rest of the state? The Boot in action. Tech closing out their season against Missouri State, where their coach be back. Sonny Crumby is, you know, a lot of players lobbying for him. It's a battle of the UL Monroe taking on ULL. The Cajuns looking to get back into the win column, and there you see it down at the bottom of the screen, probably the most interesting game outside of Southeastern's game. Charlotte and Tulane, the Wave, trying to punch their ticket, stay in that playoff picture, maybe needing a little bit of help elsewhere. Their coach is a hot commodity, too. A number of SEC teams looking at
Everybody wants a little bit of Summerall.
Everybody. I'd take some Summerall. Speaking of the SEC, they're going to close it out with rivalry weekend. Some of these games losing a little bit of their luster, certainly when you look at Clemson and South Carolina, Kentucky and Louisville and Florida State and Florida. But the Iron Bowl will always be something to talk about, as will Vanderbilt and Tennessee this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun to see if the Doors can stay in that playoff contention as well, pulling off the upset in Knoxville. Somebody that never is upset is our guy Dave Baker with a look at our weather forecast. It's going to be nasty up in Norman, I think, but you know, we'll see how it looks, see how the Tigers do.
The play on fields probably look pretty nasty, too.
The play on the field will probably look about as good as the weather, right, Dave?
Yeah, it's looking a little bit gray out there, but it should be okay for Southeastern today, as they're going to be out there with temperatures hovering in the upper 60s. Of course, perfect weather inside the Dome for the Bayou Classic. Temperature in New Orleans will be around 70. I'll guess it'll probably be between 68 and 72 inside the Superdome. And then on the road up in Oklahoma, the LSU Tigers are going to be dealing with some colder conditions, kind of blustery, a couple of showers lingering, but I think most of the rain will get out of the way before the game starts. Locally, though, you can see we've got some gray skies here in Baton Rouge. Temperature now at 55 degrees, and those winds are out of the east-northeast at 9, but they're going to be shifting more to the southeast, allowing for a fairly mild day today. As we look at our Storm Station 7-day forecast, temperatures should climb to 69 degrees. Could be a couple of sprinkles here and there, but the better rain chances overnight into early Sunday. Another wave comes in Monday night into Tuesday, and yet another wave Thursday into Friday. Significant amounts of rain for the next several days.
Now at Rooms to Go, find the ideal modular living room for you with fashionable, functional pieces starting at just $295. Shop our fully customizable modular collections and design your perfect room. No matter your space, no matter your style. Rooms to Go modulars offer incredible features, built-in speakers, USB chargers, and power recliners. Find the modular that fits your needs, starting at just $295. Plus, right now, get 55-month interest-free financing during the Rooms to Go holiday sale.
I was in stop-and-go traffic, and out of nowhere, I was hit by an 18-wheeler. I know what to do. I called Morris Bart, and he got me $150,000.
Over 40 years of winning, over $1 billion won. You know what to do.
During the More to Move You sales event at Team Mazda, you can get 0% financing for 72 months on a new Mazda CX-50 or get $2,000 customer cash on a new Mazda CX-5. You choose your vehicle and the savings are yours at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda.
Time for Christmas shopping savings at Cullen's Playland. Cullen's Playland has quality classics plus the newest, coolest, and largest selection around. Check out the Rail Cube, round and round, upside down, click and twist. Make it big, make it small. Rail Cube is a STEM groundbreaking toy for hands-on adventure. Mix and match. Create your own magnetic-based monorail that comes to life.
Cullen's Playland, your Christmas savings superstore, serving Louisiana for over 50 years.
That's Cullen's Playland, Baton Rouge and Lafayette.
When almost every doctor in the state is in network,
The doctor will see you now.
getting in to see one is a whole lot easier. Find out all the affordable, accessible reasons why Louisiana's #1 health insurer is Louisiana Blue.
Louisiana shoulder injuries are common in accidents and need immediate attention. Rotator cuff tears, fractures, and dislocations. At Murphy Law Firm, we've seen it all. Call me Peyton Murphy. I am Louisiana's shoulder injury lawyer.
Now, this week's Best Bets with Hunter McCann.
Oh, yeah. Let's win some money to end the college football regular season. Rivalry week. Let's start with a game that really isn't a rivalry in the LSU Tigers and Oklahoma Sooners this afternoon. The Tigers 10.5-point underdogs in this one with the over-under set at 37.5 total points. Not many points in this one expected because both of these defenses are just that good. They're spitting images of each other truly, but beside the fact that Oklahoma can actually stop a mobile quarterback. But that point will kind of be mute in this one unless Michael Van Buren's actually able to use his legs and break off some big ones for the first time this season. Now, LSU truly may not score a single point in this game, in my opinion. That's how good this Sooners defense is. John Mateer, though, for Oklahoma offensively at their quarterback position has been hot and cold, but this will be the best defense that he has faced this season with the Tigers. I think either way you split it, this is going to be an ugly, ugly, low-scoring affair where turnovers and short field will ultimately decide the victor. This over-under could have been set at 20 points. I probably still would have taken the under. I'm rolling with under 37.5 total points in this one between the Tigers and the Sooners. And then this morning, coming up just a few minutes, Miami on the road against Pitt, and a big one for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes in this one, 6.5-point favorites with the over-under set at 51.5 total points. And like I said, big one for Miami. They are on the bubble for the playoffs, while Pitt needs a victory in this one at home today and then have either SMU or Virginia lose later tonight for them to punch their ticket to the ACC championship game and have that opportunity at the postseason. So Pittsburgh undoubtedly will bring their best effort in this one, especially after looking impressive last week against Georgia Tech. But that was a Georgia Tech team that had been flirting with inconsistency all season. Miami, on the other hand, clear talent advantage, at least in my opinion. Even going on the road here, I think they're going to bring their best against Pitt today because they know that they need a victory and in style points to be able to get themselves over the hump and possibly at a chance to make the college football playoffs. I'm going to go with Miami in this one to get the decisive victory. Take the Hurricanes, -6.5 points today. And then later this evening, it's the Iron Bowl. Auburn hosting Alabama with Alabama's chances at the college football playoffs hanging in the balance. The Tide, 5.5-point favorites in this one with the over-under set at 48.5 total points. And Jordan-Hare Stadium tonight is going to be a madhouse. And if Auburn wants any chance of ruining Alabama's season, they're going to have to play the clock. Slow the game down, limit the Crimson Tide's offense from getting possessions. And whether or not Ashton Daniels and the Tigers do that and generate points along the way is beside the point to me. That will be the formula that the Tigers try to use tonight to turn this one into a low-scoring fight and a very hostile environment for the Crimson Tide. I'm going to roll with the under in this one of 48.5 total points in the Iron Bowl, and we'll see if Auburn can knock off Alabama along the way. And then this morning, in just a few minutes, the game gets underway as Michigan hosts Ohio State, where Ohio State is a big favorite in this one. 10.5-point favorites for the Buckeyes with the over-under set at 44.5 total points. And both these teams have managed to put up great offenses this season, especially the last few weeks. Ohio State started last week a little bit slow, but then picked it up against Rutgers. And Michigan with Bryce Underwood has done well to move the ball, especially when they're playing at home. Now, Julian Sayin and the Buckeyes haven't really been tested yet this season, except for earlier in the year, the first week actually, against Texas. Since then, they have kind of cruised and held that #1 position in the college football playoff rankings. But they're going to have to pull out all the stops today against a Michigan team that feels dangerous. That obviously, this is a big rivalry game. I think the point total in this one is a little bit conservative, as I think in rivalry week, and especially in this matchup, these games tend to go pretty high scoring. Over 44.5 is going to be the best bet in this one. I'm going to roll with that one. This game gets underway in just a few minutes. All right, quick recap for you. Take the Tigers and Sooners in a very boring, low-scoring game. If you love defense, tune into this one this afternoon on WBRZ. Under 37.5 total points is the best bet. Then at 11 o'clock, take Miami to have an impressive win covering 6.5 points against Pitt. The under in the Iron Bowl, 48.5 total points. And then the game, over 44.5 total points between Ohio State and Michigan. All right, quickly get those best bets placed. And thanks for watching WBRZ News 2 at 10 o'clock. We'll be back later tonight with your highlights from LSU, Southern, and Southeastern this afternoon. So